What is up, nerds? My name is Travis, and this is Wonder Nerd. You guys, I wanted to talk about something that I was super excited about when I first heard about it, and then that excitement slowly faded as more information came out about the project. I am, of course, talking about the 2018 film Daphne and Velma. For those of you who might be a little confused, no, this is not a Thelma and Louise type situation. This is a standalone, solo origin story about the Scooby-Doo characters Daphne Blake and Velma Dinkley. The idea itself isn't completely stupid. It's actually super interesting to take these characters that we all know and love and to see where they came from and to see how they became friends. But the thing is, we already had that with 2009's Scooby-Doo, The Mystery Begins. And for nearly 10 years later to do basically a retread of that without a majority of the characters, I don't know about it. Not to say you're losing anything when you take out the characters of Shaggy and Fred and Scooby, because for a lot of the projects, at least in the past maybe 20 years, they've been sort of one note and have been sort of cast into this cliche personality type where Fred is the good-looking leader and Shaggy is the goofy, put-upon, scaredy cat. And the same goes for Scooby, except he has something special wherein he is a talking dog. So to kind of take these characters out of the equation and focus more on the female characters who maybe haven't gotten the same amount of attention as the male characters did in the history of the show, that's an interesting take too. For a long time in the history of the franchise, Daphne has been saddled as Fred's girlfriend, even though in the original run of the cartoon, it was never explicitly stated whether or not they were dating. She was just the girl. And later on, she became the damsel in distress, like she was in the original live-action movies. And with Velma, she was a little different. She wasn't just the girl. She was the smart girl. She was the brains of the operation, to say. She was the one who came up with the plans. But I don't feel like she ever really got the credit she deserved. I mean, she created most of the shit that caught the ghosts in the first place. So to see these characters who have more or less been sidelined for the majority of the franchise is refreshing, and to see the story of how they became friends is super interesting. But I can't help but think, could it have been done in a way where it incorporated all of Mystery Inc.? Could it have been done in a way that The Mystery Begins was done, where it explores everybody? Or are they planning to explore Fred and Shaggy's friendship in a sequel movie? Is this opening up a whole new Scooby-Doo or even Hanna-Barbara universe? Who knows? Let's talk about the plot. Daphne and Velma meet in high school and then have to figure out why their fellow students have suddenly turned into mindless zombie drones. Now, that sounds kind of interesting because it takes away from the traditional formula of Scooby-Doo, where it's just some guy in a mask running around terrorizing people, and sort of goes the way of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, where it's a more tangible thing and it's not just, hey, it's a dude in a mask. It's a real problem that they have to figure out, hey, how are we going to solve this? From what I can gather from the trailer, which we'll talk about later, believe me, Daphne and Velma are internet friends who are somehow transferred to be in the same high school. Now, that's an interesting plot point because it modernizes the characters and throws them into 2018. Now, is it cliche up to this point to take characters from the 60s and 70s and just toss them into a modern setting where it doesn't really make sense? Yeah, but then again, the cartoon characters could be crawling out of the TV Fat Albert style. At least this makes a little bit more sense than that. Velma is played by Sarah Gilman, who played Delia on the Disney Channel show I Didn't Do It, and also had a reoccurring role on the Tim Allen show Last Man Standing. She also did a bunch of commercials for GameStop like a year and a half ago. And from what I can tell from watching the trailers, she nails it. I feel like anytime they cast a live-action Velma in a live-action Scooby-Doo movie, they always get it so perfect. She seems like she really fits the character and is having a lot of fun in this role. You can Google a picture of Sarah Gilman even when she's not in the wardrobe for Velma and think, yeah, that's Velma. I can see this girl playing Velma. This is the one thing in the movie that I did not question at all. I was like, Sarah Gilman as Velma? Yep, seems to fit. Daphne is played by an actress named Sarah Jeffrey, who wasn't really on my radar until I started doing research for this video. But her biggest role is playing the character of Audrey in the Disney Channel original movie Descendants. Now, after watching the trailer a few times, which is a few times too many, Sarah seems to be trying to do something different with her portrayal of Daphne than with previous portrayals of the character. Now, it's not that different. She still comes off as Daphne, but she really goes for that happy, popular, high-spirited girl that you may have known in high school. I mean, I can say that I knew a few in high school. I knew a few girls who fit the mold that she's trying to put out there. But there's something about it that doesn't feel like the original Daphne. Now, is that a bad thing? No, it's really good to try and change a character. Now, with the live-action version that starred Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar, they went in the wrong direction and made Daphne this damsel in distress who turns her body into a can of whoop-ass and becomes this, like, tough girl who knows taekwondo or karate. And while that was funny as a child, I don't think it fit the character very well. Now, I can't say much because I've only seen Sarah Jeffrey's portrayal through the trailer. And obviously, the trailers don't give you much to go on. But she seems like she's trying to do something different. And I have to respect that because this character has been around for, 30 years? And has pretty much been the same for a majority of those 30 years. The movie is being directed by Susie Unezi, who's known for directing mostly family and teenage fare and episodes of the YouTube Red series Foursome. Now, I don't know a lot about her work, so I can't really judge whether or not she was the right pick for this movie, but the movie is being produced by Ashley Tisdale, which surprised the entire hell out of me because I haven't really known her to be a producer. The only other thing I can tell she's done behind the camera work on is the freeform series Young and Hungry, which I actually enjoy very much. So maybe Ashley Tisdale took her producing expertise and put it into this movie, and who knows, maybe this movie will be as good as Young and Hungry was. And to be fair, I am stretching the term good. Okay, the time has come. Let's talk about the trailer. Now, the trailer is fine. It's just like any other trailer for any other family-friendly movie. It shows off what the plot's about, it introduces you to the characters, and it shows you clips of crazy hijinks. But the movie just comes off as so cheesy. And, I mean, that was obvious from the get-go. Anytime you adapt Scooby-Doo, it's going to be cheesy. You are never going to see a dark, gritty reboot of Scooby-Doo. Not like you've seen in the comics where Scooby-Doo is set in the future and all this. You are never going to see that version of Scooby-Doo as a live-action movie because producers don't believe that that sells for those characters. People want to see the Scooby-Doo characters be goofy and solving goofy mysteries. And this movie is that. The movie is also super saturated with color. Even when it's supposed to be like the dark points of the movie, it's still super saturated with a lot of bright colors, which again is normal for family-friendly movies. You don't want to get too dark, literally, in a family-friendly movie. You want to keep the colors bright and soft, and you want, to be welcoming. Even now, before it's released and before it's even been out for a year, the movie already seems so mired in its times. People will see clips of this movie or see this whole movie or see a DVD copy of it like 5 years from now and be like, wow, this was so 2018. This is so weird. And it'll be a niche thing. With Daphne and Velma being like internet friends and being friends who met on the internet and meet in real life and using all of this technology and all of this stuff, it's already dating itself. And that's something that like I kind of fear with movies when I see them using the newest technology or the newest slang or the newest trends. They're digging themselves into a hole and they're dating themselves. And it's hard not to for teen movies or family-friendly movies to do that. But for the most part, the trailer just, it's something special. Not that it's bad, but it's obviously a family-friendly, straight-to-DVD movie. No one is seeing this movie in theaters. This is a straight-to-DVD movie. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So what are my final thoughts on Daphne and Velma? Do I think it's going to be any good? Do I think it's going to suck? Am I going to go see it? Am I not going to go see it? And my final thoughts are, I think it's going to be fine. I really can't make a decision about whether or not it's a good movie or a bad movie until I actually watch it. Now, like I said before, this is a family-friendly movie. And those sort of come with a bit of a stigma. When you think about family-friendly movies, you don't really think of hard-hitting, explosive, cinematic experiences. You think of, a Wednesday afternoon watching your little brother. And that's fine. A lot of people are really into those sort of movies. People who have kids or people who have grandkids or people who just enjoy a nice, light, fun movie. Now, this movie is straight to DVD, and if you care to go and purchase the DVD or rent it, the movie comes out on May 22nd. Am I going to watch it? Maybe. I don't really see myself going out in search of the DVD and spending money on it. Now, if it were to pop up on Netflix or somehow pop up on YouTube for free, I might watch it, but I don't really see myself spending X amount of money on a DVD copy of Daphne and Velma. Not that I wouldn't, I just don't see that happening. Now, I have to say that this was an interesting idea, and to execute it must have been difficult, because you're taking two characters who have not carried a movie by themselves ever. Daphne and Velma have never been at the forefront of the Scooby-Doo franchise by themselves. It's either always been like the entire Mystery Inc. gang, or it's been Shaggy and Scooby with, blank member thrown into the mix. To do this was a really great idea, and it is something super interesting that I have a lot of respect for. And for the actresses who appear in the movie, I think they're doing a really good job, because I've since seen some of their work, and they're very talented, and I think they're going to do an incredible job entertaining those who participate in watching this movie. That is going to do it for me, you guys. Be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up. Be sure to leave a comment down in the comment section below. Be sure to share this video with all your friends and family. I have linked the trailer to Daphne and Velma down in the description if you want to take a look and judge for yourself. If you don't trust me, you probably shouldn't trust me. I'm some jackass on the internet. But with that, be sure to subscribe, because I make brand new videos like all the time. And with that, remember, nerds rule.